The wind blows across a frozen island. 4,000 years ago, a small herd of mammoths moves slowly through the snow. Thick brown fur against the cold, curved tusks cutting through drifting ice, breath rising in pale clouds. They don't know they're the last. To them, this is just another season, another search for grass beneath melting snow, another year on an island that has been their entire world. Far away, humans are building pyramids, writing laws, sailing ships across warm seas. And here, on a remote Arctic island, the last mammoths on Earth are walking toward an ending they cannot see. This is how giants disappeared. To understand their end, you have to understand their world. For tens of thousands of years, mammoths dominated the northern hemisphere, from Spain to Alaska, from the edges of glaciers to the open steppes of Siberia. The land was colder then, drier. Vast grasslands stretched across continents where forests stand today. This was the mammoth steppe, frozen, windswept, and alive with giants. Woolly rhinoceroses grazed beside them. Cave bears slept through winters in deep mountain caves. Saber-toothed cats watched from the shadows. Giant elk moved through river valleys carved by ice. Humans were there too, few in number, small bands following the herds, surviving one brutal winter at a time. For them, mammoths meant everything. Meat for weeks, fat for heat, skin for clothing and shelter, bones strong enough to build homes. In some regions, entire dwellings were constructed from mammoth ribs and skulls, covered in hides and half buried in earth for warmth. They drew mammoths on cave walls, carved them into ivory, watched them closely. Mammoths weren't just animals, they were survival. But the Ice Age did not last. Around 12,000 years ago, the world began to change, slowly, almost imperceptibly. Glaciers retreated, sea levels rose, the frozen grasslands transformed. Forests spread north, swamps formed where dry plains once stretched to the horizon. The plants mammoths depended on, dry grasses, sedges, willows, began to disappear. Many animals adapted, some migrated. Mammoths could not. They were specialists, built for cold, dry worlds, perfect for winters that no longer existed. As food grew scarce, migration routes broke apart. Rivers swelled, mud replaced frozen ground. Territories shrank, herds were forced into smaller and smaller pockets of land. Warmer climates brought more than trees. They brought disease. Parasites and microbes that once died in deep cold began to spread. Winters no longer reset the balance. For a single mammoth, one year still felt like the last, but across centuries, everything was changing. Herds grew smaller, some vanished entirely. Yet mammoths did not disappear everywhere. On the northern coast of Siberia, rising seas flooded the land. A peninsula became an island, Wrangel Island, remote, isolated, 100 miles north of the mainland. And stranded there was a small population of mammoths, perhaps a few hundred animals cut off from the rest of their kind. No migration, no new blood, no escape. And yet, they survived. Wrangel Island had grasslands, fresh water, shelter from the worst Arctic storms. For thousands of years, mammoths grazed its valleys, raised calves, and endured its winters. While mammoths on the mainland faded into memory, then legend, then nothing, On Wrangel Island, they were still real, still walking, still breathing. Radiocarbon dating confirms it. These mammoths were alive around 2000 BCE. At the same time pyramids rose in Egypt, mammoths still walked the Arctic tundra. But survival came at a cost. With so few individuals, the gene pool shrank. Mammoths bred with close relatives. Over generations, harmful mutations accumulated. Some changes were visible. By the final centuries, many mammoths had pale, translucent fur, a sign of genetic breakdown. Others were hidden. Genes responsible for smell degraded. Mammoths moved through blooming Arctic meadows, unable to scent food, danger, or one another. They developed fertility problems, metabolic disorders, weakened immune systems. They were intelligent social animals, led by matriarchs who remembered every grazing route and shelter. They protected their calves. They mourned their dead. But the herd was shrinking. The end came quickly. Radiocarbon dates show mammoths alive at 2500 BCE, then 2300, then 2100, and then nothing. The extinction was sudden, not a long decline. And the strangest part is, the evidence shows they were healthy until the end. No signs of starvation, no long-term climate stress. The environment had not collapsed. Whatever killed them came fast. Possibly a single catastrophic winter. Rain freezing over snow, sealing food beneath ice. Possibly contaminated fresh water as permafrost thawed. Possibly disease. In a population this small, one bad event was enough. Recent genetic studies suggest the mammoths were adapting, slowly purging the worst mutations, holding on, which means their extinction was not inevitable. Something changed, and they had no time to respond. The last mammoth did not know it was the last. Mammoths lived in herds. They communicated over miles with low-frequency calls humans cannot hear. At some point, one mammoth stood alone, calling out, listening, and hearing nothing. For elephants, isolation is devastating. They stop eating, they shut down. The last mammoth likely died quietly. No predators, no drama, just another winter day. Its body lay in the snow, scattered by wind and time, preserved in the ice, bones waiting for thousands of years. Wrangel Island still blooms each spring. Arctic poppies cover the valleys, foxes roam, birds return, and scattered across the land are bones. Some from mammoths 40,000 years old, some from the last ones. You cannot tell the difference. The island does not remember endings. The mammoths survived climate change, isolation, thousands of years after their world collapsed, and then, suddenly, they were gone. Their story matters because it shows us something uncomfortable. Survival does not guarantee safety. Being the last does not guarantee endurance. Even giants can disappear quietly. And this wasn't the only species to vanish this way. In our last film, we look at animals declared extinct that may still be alive.